Story time. Who doesn't love a great story? Hey, welcome to episode 4 of Jed Talks. I am your host, Jed Davis, the state rep of the 75th District here in Illinois, coming to you from Studio 75. And we are going to have an incredible story for you today that will be well worth the listen. But before we jump in, I want to just kind of give a little commercial for last week. We answered the question. We tackled the question of why is your electric bill going through the roof? Man, you open that thing up lately and it's probably like, whoa, you about have a heart attack right there on the floor, and rightfully so. And we dug in, and man, did we get good engagement. I would encourage you, take the 15 to 18 minutes, go back and listen. Here's the short answer. Are you ready? Here's the answer. It is, ding, 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 ding. Your General Assembly is passing policies that is causing your cost of living to continually go up and away, right? Your cost of living is going up because of what the General Assembly is passing. The proof is your electric bill. Look no further than your electric bill. It's not just a bill. It is a receipt of the bad policy coming out of Springfield. And it's being caused. Your cost of living is going up because of the General Assembly. Take a listen, and it is an eye-opener. So jump back just one episode. But hey, welcome to Story Time today. It's going to be fun. I love this story. It happened to me directly, so this is just a firsthand account of my life as a state rep, which I don't think there's any better to kind of explain what happens in Springfield. And it paints a great picture of the Democrats and the Republicans, so we kind of capture it all in the state, the current state of life under the dome in Springfield. So it is May 2024. May, man, we're in session January to May every year. So May is when people panic, man. We are running out of time, right? Everyone's like, we're running out of time. That is bull. We're not running out of time. That is all very deliberative, very intentional on the part of the majority party. Look no further than our budget, 5,377 pages, and we had 18 hours to review it. 18 hours to read 5,400 pages. Nobody can do that, and the media can't do it either. So now we can pass all of this nonsense without the proper vetting time, because if you vet it, there's going to be questions that you then have to answer. We being the majority party, don't want to answer these questions because there are no good answers, because we're continuing to raise your cost of living through all these additional taxes that you're going to pay us. So isn't that great? Because we know how to manage your money better than you do. And we're going to continue to grow government, and we're just going to cram this through. Nobody's going to know any different, and life goes on. We skip away into the sunshine of the summer. That is Springfield, and it is very manipulative. So there is done very intentionally. Again, we're not out of time. Another thing happening in May, for the sake of saving time, because we're down to the wires, they start passing omnibus bills. Man, do I loathe omnibus bills. What is an omnibus? You take 10, 20, 30 bills, you package them under one. So these 30 pieces of legislation, we're just going to use 30 as a good number here for our conversations moving forward. These 30 pieces of legislation are now on one vehicle, one bill, one bus, and it is an ominous bus, man. That little play on word, because it is very ominous what we're doing here. So we've got an omnibus bill that has 30 pieces of legislation on it. 28 of them are great, good pieces of legislation helping the people of Illinois. 2 of them are horrible. They're rancid, man. They are garbage. And we're going to drag them across the finish line on the backs of these 28. What nonsense. Why are we even participating in, again, more manipulative practices in the halls of the General Assembly? And you know what ends up happening? Everyone votes yes for them. And I use that pretty broadly. I vote no, but the majority on this one I'm giving you example on, there were only 6 no votes here in 2024 of May. So nearly everyone votes yes. Why? Why are both parties participating in this nonsense? It's because they're afraid. They're afraid politically. And here's what I mean. They will come, when it comes to election season, they'll come for you and they'll grab Jed voted against. So let's say I vote no on the omnibus, which I did, but I vote no, and they'll say, Jed voted against seniors, Jed voted against kids, and they'll start cherry picking these 28 good pieces of legislation and paint me as an evil, evil man out here to destroy seniors and children because I would vote no on this. I didn't vote no against those bills. I voted no against the practice of manipulating the state of Illinois by dragging bad legislation across the finish line on the backs of some good bills. That needs to end. It's just wrong, okay? Everyone here, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, I think we can all admit, right, red or blue, that it's wrong, and we shouldn't be governing this way. So I have a bill in 2024 that helps families with medically fragile loved ones at home. So these people already have the strain of caring for their medically fragile loved one, and now there's a shortage of CNAs. There's a shortage of workers that they qualify for to come and help with daily activities. So now the mom or the dad, and what mom or dad wouldn't take this action, but they quit their job, so they have forfeited their paycheck, which is now creating financial stress on that family because someone needs to care for their loved child. So this is just the reality of everyday life for them. If there were a CNA there, the money's already sitting in a pot in Illinois, and we would pay them. Now the mom and dad is forced to leave their job, forfeiting their paycheck. They're doing all the work of the CNA. So if they get certified, right, they're already doing the work. Let's just pay them. Now we've relieved that financial burden. We're backfilling the gap on labor, and we're doing what we intended to do with the money we have set aside and just let it sit there and rot. Let's actually use it for the good of the people. Win-win. This is a widely popular bill. First Republican bill out of committee in 2024. I've got chief co-sponsors that are the polar opposite of me, right? If I'm here, these individuals are here, but we are both chief co-sponsors on this bill. And how awesome is that? Imagine if that was our government more often than not, that we've got people that can't really agree on a whole lot of much, but we are coming together on issues for the good of the working family here in Illinois. That, to me, man, that should be the description of Illinois government, but it rarely happens. But I was proud to kind of foster that. Here's what else happens. Now, again, manipulation. They'll take your great idea, a Republican, it just happens, and I'm sure if the shoe's on the other foot in other states, I'm sure the other party does this. So I don't care if it's red or blue, these practices shouldn't be happening. And I guarantee you other states' Republicans are just as guilty. So I'm here to say enough is enough. Let's govern by the people. Because that's who elected us to the office. But you've got a Republican has a great idea, and all of a sudden that thing dies a slow death and goes nowhere. And shortly, not too long afterwards, oh, look at the wonderful idea that's popped up in the majority party, and they pass it and champion it and own it. It's the same idea that we just filed over here. So I call that theft. They will take your idea, run it as their own, and giving them the kudos and the credit for the statewide political season when it comes time for elections. So, oh man, that's another podcast. We can talk about all the manipulation and the political games we love to play. But all of a sudden, my idea that has great traction, first bill out of committee, again, great bipartisan support, it just kind of dies a slow death, and it pops up on the Medicaid omnibus. So they're now including it. But they're including it on this larger bill, kind of robbing my credit for it, which I don't really care. I'm not here for the credit. I'm here to help the people. So this bill is going to pass, which is exciting because I know that families are going to benefit, which is, oh man, does that give me great joy as an elected official to know that we can truly help families who are struggling day by day here in Illinois. But now I'm in a pickle, because I hate omnibuses, right? I don't want to vote yes for this. I do not want to vote. I am against the practice, and I wish we'd have more people with backbones to say enough is enough. We can't govern this way. We're voting no, and we're sending the message out because this is a winning message. If I've been saying it ever since I've been in office, if people really knew what happened in Springfield, they would be appalled. And man, you can win elections if we can communicate what's happening, and not just communicate the logistical stuff of what is happening, but then show a different solution of here's what we're suggesting. We're saying no more omnibus bills. You, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, deserve to know where we stand as elected officials on every issue. So we're going to take them one by one. We have time. We don't need to, we need to save time and package them all together. No, that's all self-inflicted. It's very deliberative, intentional, and manipulative. So there's time that we could slow down and take those 30 bills one by one and move on with life. So we need to end omnibus practices without question. Now you've got this bill, though. My bill's in there. Do I vote yes? No. I am like, shoot, what do I do? Well, after a brief consideration at the desk on the floor of the House, I voted no. and I even wrote about it in my end of session newsletter, voting against my own bill, or something to that effect was the title. And I just want people to know, here's what is happening in Springfield. And I have deeply, I've got deep convictions on issues, and I've got deep feelings, which I've kind of shared here, of why we shouldn't govern this way. And I don't care if my bill is part of the 28 or not. I'm still a no, because the way we're doing this is wrong. And hey, by the way, all these people who voted yes, we drug a couple bad bills across the finish line. One of them is, if you have an aging individual at home who needs assisted living, but they're struggling with dementia, right? You try to find often a place that can care for them. So now some of them are funded through state use, right? Medicaid, Medicare, all that stuff is helping fund some of these institutions. But in Kendall County, if there was one here, you can only have one every 25 miles. So we are in, at one point, the fastest growing county in the nation was Kendall County. And I'm just using it because I'm literally sitting in it right now. Fastest growing county in the nation. We are booming. We are one of actually the only, last time I looked about a year ago, one of literally a handful of counties that are even growing in Illinois. A lot of them are shrinking populations. So we're growing. We're booming population. The aging population is significant, and there are going to be families, I talk with them all the time, that have aging parents who are struggling with dementia. And what do? How do we get them the help? Again, back to having the medically fragile loved one at home. How do we get the help that they need without creating just a lot of strain on the family that is caring for them? There are some great organizations that can do that in assisted living facilities, but you can only have one every 25 miles. And guess what? Kendall, east to west, is like 23 miles. North to south, it's 20 miles. On a good day, it's more like 18 to 19 miles. So you can have one in the entire county. Why would that even be a thing? Like, why are we even voting that into law when we need these places to care for people? It's rancid. It's rancid legislation that we drug on the backs of good ones like my bill to care, to help parents, to help them get cash so that they can support their family without stress when they're taking care of their medically fragile son or daughter. Oh, what nonsense. And we need to end it as soon as I voted no. So here, I just kind of described everything that the majority party, currently the Democrats in Illinois, are doing and how it's very manipulative. So it gets a great picture of what is happening there. As soon as I vote no, literally 5 to 10 seconds later, I got someone whispering in my ear. I'm like, what is going on? And all I hear is, you shouldn't have voted that way. What was wrong with you? They're never going to fund your bill. Well, hey, my bill doesn't need any funding. Okay, so if you're going to talk to me about my bill, maybe you should know what it is, because it doesn't need any funding. The funds are already there. Literally, we just have to file a waiver that opens the doorway for these funds to reach these families. So thank you for sharing that point. That's completely invalid, but you should have never voted that way, Jed. That was a stupid vote. I can't believe you would do that. It's Republican leadership. And I'm like, what? It really caught me off guard. I'm like, what? Like, what is happening right now? This is my second year in my first term. So I'm just kind of navigating the waters and kind of getting, your sea legs under you as you figure things out, the new role as a state rep, which is an incredible honor. And I'm so grateful to be here. But that really caught me off guard. And I kind of just said, thank you for sharing your opinion. I appreciate it. And everything moved on. Now I think I would be a lot different. Not that I've aged a lot in that 1 year, but I've got a little more of those sea legs under me. And I would love to say, who's the rep, right? Who is the rep of the 75th? Is it you? Are you the rep of the 75th, or am I? Because when I'm in caucus, all I hear is how we need to let people vote their districts. Like, don't get offended if they're voting for liberal policies, because they need to vote their district. The instant that I stand up on principle and say nonsense on the omnibus stuff, we need to cut it out. We need to cut the legs underneath it and stop it. You're whispering in my ear, telling me how I'm voting wrong. Talk about hypocritical. Like, please go back to your seat. I will cast the votes. I will be held accountable by the constituents in the 75th district, not by you. They sent me here. Republican leadership didn't send me here. The voters sent me here. And I'll never forget that. And that happens so easily in Springfield. You get down there and you forget why you're there, which is why I seldom go to some of the evening receptions, because I don't want to get sucked into whatever it is down there. I want to remember who sent me there and who I'm actually representing. And it's the people of the 75th. And again, red or blue, I really do feel you'd be with me on no more omnibus. You deserve to know where every rep stands, so let's take these issues one at a time instead of manipulating, gaming the system. Oh, man, so that shows you, here's the state of the Republican Party. So that's what I meant. This story kind of paints a picture of where the Democrats and where the Republicans are. In closing, have you ever seen the movie The Truman Show? I think it really just captures the essence of this whole thing. So if you haven't seen The Truman Show, it's actually a pretty decent flick. Jim Carrey is in it, and his whole environment is scripted. He doesn't know it. He's living a life that is totally scripted. His family, his home, his community, the grass, the sky, everything around him is part of a TV production, and people tune in to watch Truman. He eventually, as he's aged, realizes that everything around me is fake. I think like a movie light falls out of the sky, and he's like, whoa, what is going on? And he starts seeing some other signs and realizes he is stuck. He is trapped, and he wants out. He wants to break free. And the movie's around him getting freedom into the real world. And I often feel that is us, man. That is that is Republicans in Springfield. We are often on the Truman Show. The Dems have everything scripted, and we're just walking around happy as a lark, not knowing any the better. And I wish we would get a backbone and start to push back, because just reiterating my point on the omnibus, if we would communicate strategically with voters, here is what is happening in Springfield. Here's how we differ and where we want to see the future go. You can win votes. Unequivocally, you can win votes. Hey, thank you for listening. If you let me know if you watch The Truman Show and what you think of it. So we'll dig into that more into the future. But have an incredible week. We're on the road this weekend heading to a wedding, which is always kind of fun out in Michigan, so not too far away. But hoping to spend time with family and friends out there. And I hope you do the same wherever you find yourself this weekend. God bless. And we'll be back. We'll be back soon. Thank you very much.